Okay, Eric, if you're ready, I'll appear.
Our exploration of the hidden treasures of Mouse Heaven continues. I'm sitting here beside a showcase that, for lack of space, is always hiding behind the giant Mickey Mouse rocking chair upstairs. Today the chair is gone, and so is the plexiglass that protects these treasures from the ravages of time and me. There's things in this case that date from the turn of the last century, and most of it was acquired in those days before I rediscovered Disney. Many of these objects I found the amazing year I lived in Gay Paris. Back in those days, I can assure you, that adjective signified nothing more than carefree. And carefree I was indeed. And fortunately, many of the objects I acquired there were practically free, because I sure as hell didn't have any money. This case contains some things that are sheer magic, and others that one might consider to be slightly naughty.
Novelties that the French might consider risque. Among these treasures is one that I acquired from the famous Johnson & Smith Company. So let's begin there.
Here it is, he says salaciously, the Hotsy-Totsy fan dancer. This incredible object was purchased for the sum of just 10 cents from the incredible Johnson & Smith Company. That was my Bible as a kid. They were a Noah's Ark of novelties, where treasures from before the First World War survived through 2 world wars and made its way to me in 1947 or so, when I was 10. I'll show you what 10 cents could buy then. So delightful. Gosh, I thought this was so naughty and delicious. Let's see if I can still flip it.
So here she is, Miss Hotsy-Totsy, in her original fanny dance. At 10 years old, I thought she was fantastic.
Do one more.
One more, okay. She starts out with a seductive little wink. Then she shakes her fanny. And then in some frames her body shivers all over. God, I thought this was so wonderful. You might say I was her biggest fan.
Here's a curious item from the turn of the century. This is very, very old. It's also very, very subtle. Watch carefully. This young lady is hovering, lifting her nightie over this goblet, and watch very carefully as I just simply touch the back.
The goblet's filling up. And now it's bubbling. I don't think that's champagne.
Okay, well, while we're here, I'll show you some other amazing things. These are from the era of my childhood. And, well, let's get it over here on my lap. And this works kind of like this.
It's a lap dance.
And it has an added feature that I can operate for you.
I hope this isn't too titillating for YouTube.
Okay, I'm going to put her back and get her friend out here.
They call that twerking.
I guess it is, yes.
That's the
I finally figured out what twerking was. Here's another charming little tidbit. This is the Videoscope teletest. Are you photogenic? This is what you'll look like when television is invented and you're on it. First you count to 5 and then you press the button. Now I'm going to make this work for the entire audience, so watch carefully and you'll see your image appear there when you're on TV. There we go. There you are. Can you make that out?
A little bit.
I think it's either a donkey or a horse's derriere. I'm not sure which. Okay, here we go. Then I'm putting this back. What else have I got in here? This is what's called a Cartesian devil. It's very, very old. It was 50 years old when I got it 60 years ago. Originally, the glass was full, and the heat of your hand would make the figure rise up to the top.
This is not where you got the idea for the monster.
No, that was a different principle. And here's a lovely whiskey flask. And this is the love meter, boys wanted. And it tests your sex appeal, actually. The spirit of prophesying. Okay, well anyway, the way this works is you just touch it with your finger and you'll find out what kind of a young lady you're destined to attract. Keep going, please. Well, I guess that nailed me perfectly. The irony is this one looks the most like my wife. See if I can rise it a little higher. I actually prefer the bottom one. Here we go. Now, let's see if I can make this operate, if the lighting is such that this will work. This is an old Johnson Smith item, and it was 15 cents. And it's one of the few things you could get from Johnson & Smith, which were not disappointing. These represent acrobats. Now, as you turn it around, they assume all kinds of acrobatic positions. Can you get this?
Somewhat.
Is my hand hiding it?
No.
Okay. I was actually quite disappointed in this because they really didn't look like they were doing acrobatics to me. I don't know what they're up to, but it didn't. I've never seen any acrobatic acts of this nature. I've spent hours looking at this, and I failed to find the acrobatic element. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh. Incredible. Hours of fun. All right, you get the idea. Now then, here's something that's really pretty incredible, and I don't know what I'm going to have to do to make this thing operate here. I think we may have to turn off some lights. This is very, very old, and it's from the Pan American Exposition of God knows when. 1901. And one of the starring things on the Midway was this fan dancer. And I'm going to have to get a flashlight to work this.
Shows up a little.
She shows up a little, but I want to get her doing it right.
Okay.
But I want to tell you what this says. To see this figure dance, open front and back cover, then light a match and move same back of the picture up and down and across and in a circle, and you will see this figure go through all the motions of an oriental dancer. Patent applied for. Well, I'm not going to do this with a match because that spells disaster, but I'm going to go get a flashlight and give it a try. Okay, I'm back with what I think will be the perfect solution. This wonderful wood carving that my friend Brooks Brookman made for me. A ready kilowatt with a light-up nose. He based it on the ready kilowatt across the room, the giant one, but it's a perfect miniature copy, complete with electricity. And best of all, I can hold them in my hands like that. So let's unwind this and give it a try. Okay. Are you ready? It's working pretty good, I think. 130 years later, she dances again. Do 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 do. Now you're going down. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That's it. Here's something. Oh, there's so many little bits of magic in here. Okay, now, can we focus on this?
Got it.
These primitive predecessors of the moving pictures are sort of the kind of photographs that one might expect to encounter in Harry Potter. That's that. Here's another one. Let's see how she goes. Oh my goodness. Okay, just got her. This one is amazing. Yeah. This device is called the magnetic dancers. I actually have the original box. The price was only $1, made by the National Company of Cambridge Street in Boston. They were the makers of Ragtime Rasmus. Well, that was popular. U.S. patent, August 1922. This would operate by sitting on the edge of an old-fashioned wind-up Victrola. And as the turntable would turn around, it would activate this wheel that rotated a magnetic post in the center. That's the magnetic part. Then these figures would simply sit on top of that. Now let's see if I can make it work for you. My finger will have to be the phonograph. These came with different bases, so the figures could do different dances. I'm assuming this must be the waltz. They also did the tango and the foxtrot. And that is that. While we're down there, I'm going to show you this thing, which always seems to be in the way. It's called the Metamorphosis. And this is its original box. It's made in Germany, and it's very, very old. Let's see if I can make this operate. It's beautifully lithographed and all tinted by hand, gentle pink on every cheek. And watch what happens when I do that and that. And then we can do that and that and that. We'll fold this over and find that. and then we see that, and that. The variations are totally endless. And on the other side, it all begins again. That, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And these go on. There's other cards as well. There's at least 4 of these. Do it more slowly. And that, and that, and that, and that, and that. And on the other side, there's more. Oh my goodness. This, and this, and this, and this, and this, or this. The variations are absolutely endless. There's 4 of these in this package. It's quite amazing. Eric, while the camera's focused right here, have you ever seen a Yogi head cutter? This was manufactured, this is a later version, it was manufactured by the Lewis Marks Company. It's one of the bits of true magic you can actually hold in your hand and still not figure out how it's done. This head is made of metal with a long metal neck. Solid, I guarantee you, it's solid metal. And this little handle will make the sword pass over the neck, like so. You can examine this endlessly and not see how this is done. Okay, I'm going to insert the head into the neck and show you that it comes out on the other side. Now watch carefully. And you see this? It passes through, and his neck is still intact. You can do this repeatedly. It's an amazing illusion that holds up to close scrutiny. A little bit of true magic. Okay, I haven't tried this in years. It probably needs oiling, but see if I can make him work for you. I can't understand why anyone would be afraid of clowns.
Yeah, right. Where do you think this would be found at? Just a toy shop, or was this used for something?
Oh no, this was a novelty item that was probably expensive in its time. The clockwork mechanism inside it is craziness. It's an automaton.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And a very select item. Now it's kind of getting going.
Oh yeah. One eye seems to outpace the other one.
Yes, which makes it all look creepier.
The left is trying to catch up.
I'll turn it. Can you see what the tongue is doing?
Yeah, that's good. Oh, that's really good. That's cool.
And my eye is catching some other stuff in here. Might as well look at this. Well, I'll try to show you how it operates. It's provided it's going to operate. It doesn't act like it's going to do anything. Oh, here it goes.
Oh my gosh.
This is the Pussycat bicycle rider.
Wow. I'll zoom in a little bit.
And it's extremely complicated back here. I'll go a little slower.
It's really great. it's all tin.
Well, it's amazing graphics because it's very, very early, these things. These were toys would be from the 1920s.
The clown's still going.
Well, you know, it was meant to run for hours, actually. These things were used as store displays.
Wow.
And I think if it was really oiled up properly, it would probably last a long, long time.
Wow. Incredible.
Oh, well, here's a kind of toy that one works manually, but you could alter all of the various elements to make a variety of faces. None of which were exactly gratifying. This music box was something I made for Eunice for a Christmas present on our first Christmas together. I don't know if this will still work or not, but no, it almost operates.
Let me move.
Wait a minute, let me see. See what's causing it to jam. Originally, I put lights in it and changing colors. Can you see that?
Wow.
And it's not working now, but when it worked, it rotated all in different directions, and boy.
Oh, wow.
Well, wait a minute. Here we go. It's going to move a little bit. All right, let's just give it a chance. Let's wind it up very carefully and set it right here. And hope the light will hit it right. Click the switch and see it go. Here's a set of German postcards. Let's take a look at these. Yeah, we're gonna work it this way.
Here, hang on. Let's keep it right there.
This is meant for smaller fingers than my own. There we go.
She lost her feet in a truck attack.
Yes, there's a cure for that. The front cleverly comes out to hide the fact that there are no feet. And they just sort of wiggle around in the sand like that. Oh, now this is more my size. Here we go.
Oh.
It goes like so. And this comes out so he can dabble his non-existent footsies in the sea. Here's another one. This lady is soaking her tootsies in a wash tub. And this last is really quite complex. See if I can operate it.
It's by far the most elaborate.
The largest circulation in England. I don't know if you can see this. Shall we give it a try?
Sure.
It's not going to work. Forget that. Wait a minute. Let's take another look at this thing. This thing is really quite interesting and quite beautiful. It's all iridescent and lithographed in iridescent colors. On the sides, a crank and windows, one here, two here, and one over here. And as it says, look here, the newspaper acting picture machine for displaying animated drawings, patented September 9th, 1919, from the World Syndicate Company. It's a newspaper, and 100 years ago. And here's the intricate directions, all beautifully lithographed in iridescent colors. And here's an instruction that tells you to use this window to load the images. Right in here. The images were published in the daily newspaper and required 42 of them to make a movie. One simply had to cut them out one by one and place all 42 of them in place through the window on the side. And then turn the wheel. And if you look through the window at the top, you'd see them animate. Let's give it a try. Okay, let's go. 1919, getting kicked by a mule was considered pretty funny. It was a popular theme. Just as it appeared 100 years ago. Okay, let's put that back in there. Okay, that's kind of this case. I can't think of anything. Oh, wait a minute, here's one more charming item. Another morally uplifting gadget. When you turned it this way, the bottle would empty. It was full of sand. Then when you turn it this way...
Oh, geez.
Let's try this one more time. Give it a little tap to help it along as the bottle empties. And then I'll turn it over.
You'd be like me last night.
Okay. Where did I have this stashed? Right here. Okay, I think we've done this cabinet.
Cool.
Okay. There's some stuff in this cabinet that's pretty cool. You see this little guy? How's that look?
Pretty good.
Just a piece of paper. Simple animation. Here's a little clicker toy that possibly comes from Germany. Is that showing up? Or would it be better in this hand?
Yeah, better in that hand and a little higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
These are also animated. Oh, wait a minute, let's get this going. I think I think this represents gossiping.
Go a little higher. There you go, perfect.
How's that coming off? What? Well, did you hear what happened?
Now, what age are these from? These 1920s,
These will be from the 30s, maybe. No, the 20s actually, because there's a Felix the Cat in this same series. Okay. Oh, here's something that's kind of nice. Just a simple click thing. I hope you can see this. Can you get that?
Go a little higher. There you go.
How's that showing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not bad. Here's a toy that's quite magical. It's called The Sultan That Eats Eggs. And he'll swallow the egg, pick up another one out of the basket, swallow that, and it just keeps on going. His hand will grab another egg up to his mouth. You'll see it disappear. Okay. And this is kind of nice. Will this work or won't it? Here we go, the fireman. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's go. Rings are flaming. Oh. Help! There's a woman yelling in the window. That's it.
What kind of toys were those? Do they have a specific name?
I guess. That, my dear, about does it for this cabinet. I don't know if it was worth the trouble. Oh, wait a minute. Here's a little soccer player. See if he'll work. Is he going to do anything? Hey, he kicks the football. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Okay. You know, it just occurred to me while we're standing here in this corner of my studio, up on this very top shelf is a set of figurines I got when I was 8 years old. I managed to convince my parents and myself that if I didn't get these for my birthday, I was simply going to die. Well, here they are, and so am I. Okay, here we go. We're in front of the central showcase. I hope there's some interesting stuff in here. Here's another sparkler. It's in the form of a flower and a bumblebee. Here we go. And the sparks it makes are blue and gold. Bring it a little closer to see what this will work. Good enough. Here's a sparkler that I know does sparkle. How's that for the
Yep.
famous last words?
It's frightening.
Yeah, so you like it. Here's a tiny, tiny, tiny little thing. Tiny, 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 and how does it operate? Or does it operate? Well, it used to work. Oh, got it, okay. The little works manually. which is very subtle. Just turn the tire. And this is a delightful image. I hope this will work. It's actually an advertising figure. Let's see if I can hold it. How's that looking?
Yes.
Simply pours the drink. It's advertising a brand of lager. Here's another curiosity. This thing changes his face with every click. That's the way it works. One click is all it takes to create a whole new face. Delightful.
Yes.
Totally crazy action. Nice animation though. There it's going. That's it for this shelf. Okay, here we go. Now we're back into some serious stuff. And before I open up these cabinets, I have to get rid of this. So I'll give you one look at this gorgeous thing, which is in its original box. And this is the English version of the Bagatelle game. And it's pretty damned awesome. Let me just move this.
How would that work? How would you play that game?
Oh, well, you would put a ball down in there, you'd pull this back, shoot it up, and it would go down and fall into one of these cups, hitting nails on the way.
You got early pinball.
It's early pinball, minus the fun and excitement. It's a shoot and watch pinball. Now we've seen the Mickey Circus version of this, but this thing is pretty wonderful. You got this incredible steeplechase-like face on it. I'm going to lay it down to take the top off. And I haven't opened it for a long time, so I don't know what particular shape it'll be in. Well, I see there's a figure dropped off of it. You can stop the camera momentarily. Would you believe paper money? They're coins pressed out of paper. And like the Mickey Circus game, this, if it works right, is going to do what that one did. Hold on, let me give it another try, holding it up straight. Well, it has to be on a flat surface, and if I'm having it at a slight angle, it's not going to work. Oh. Have one more shot at this. You photographing this?
Got it. Hey.
Did it work?
Did it work?
Okay. Now I'm going to fold it up and put it back in oblivion. Hidden in plain sight.
This is French.
Yeah. Jeu de société for every age. Can I hand that to you, Eric? Okay, are we still on camera?
Still on camera.
All right, I don't know what we're going to find in here. Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad at all. Okay, well, I'm going to grab this. Oh. Well, here's an exceedingly rare, exceedingly beautiful Betty Boop doll, which is in terrible condition. She was a purse. and her body was a pocketbook, and you could zip her open and put stuff inside. But unfortunately, it's seen better days, but her head's in just perfect condition. Oh, you'll never know all the stuff I have in these drawers. This was a disaster, but I saved his head.
Who was that?
It was a pizza display from a pizzeria. Beautiful, rare Buster Brown game with gold. Will the gold glimmer for you? Here we go, Buster Brown race game. And inside, well, it features all of Outcult's characters. Everybody. Here's a Buster Brown, very, very early Buster Brown shoes mask. And then the inside is a race with all of Outcult's characters again. Buster Brown, Yellow Kid, Poor Little Mose, Billy the Bear. Oh, this is pretty great. This was a display for a game of chance. And here in the back were where the prizes were stored. It was sort of like a punch board. And the prizes would be stored in here. There's even one or two of the original worthless prizes in there. And one had to take their chance by just shooting the bagatelle, seeing what number it went in, and whether or not you were given a prize. And this whole counter display was all about that. It's a miniature carnival barker.
Cool. What were the prizes?
Trifles. Here's something extraordinary. I don't know if we can get into this or not. Student's electrical cabinet. And this is an entire static electricity experimentation lab. You want to pan down on it, on the chair? Here's a static electric generator, and it's complete with all the little attachments. Little static would make the bells ring. Here's the head of Medusa. So when you filled this with electricity, the hair would apparently stand on end. I'd venture trying to set this up if we had the time sometime, if not today. This is the prototype for Baby Boop. This was going to be an attempt at a new character. Now she's commonplace. The world discovered her, but I did this first, long before it ever happened. Okay, what are we looking at here? All right, this is wonderful. We're gonna do this tonight. This shadow lantern. This is quite amazing, and when it gets dark, we'll really examine this because it's worth doing. It works with candlelight.
Have you ever set it up before, or not in a while?
I've set it up once, years and years and years ago. Many years ago. Over the garden wall. Huh. I have no idea what's in here. Oh my God. Everyone's trying to come up with a game idea. How this works, I have no idea. But I guess you're going to try to get balls over the garden wall and into the holes. Oh, isn't that lovely? Go right in people's mouths. Two cows and a human being end up with a ball in their mouth. It's delightful. Here's something kind of Very, very basic toy. I don't know if you can photograph this or not. Wonder blocks with Diddle Dum and Dickie D. And this is it, folks, and it makes all these variations on different animals and things.
It's very bold and very old, patented in 1916.
And I gather this is a guidebook that shows you all the different things you can make out of these things. I mean, they're all quite terrific.
People, animals, and each one with a funny name and story of its own.
Lots of different stuff. These. Here's a wonderful Spanish toy theater. This was just extraordinary. The thing that it features is scenery with lighting effects.
El Teatro de los Niños is complete, with all the tiny actors uncut. And it's extremely easy to set up. The sides just fold out and fasten in place.
And you take one piece of wire, another piece of wire, and clip it there.
The scenery consists of a series of die-cut sheets, many with translucent glassine elements that create amazing lighting effects.
And each one has a number. So we place this here. This is the first curtain. This is to be placed on number 4.
When they're all suspended in their numbered notches on the stage, we can turn it around, and this is what we see. The dramatic lighting is achieved by placing a single lamp behind the scenery. This is Act 1 of The Merchant of Venice. So beautiful. The reflection in the water, the lanterns all aglow. And this is Scene 2. Next are 2 scenes from a play called Violette. It was contemporary when the theater was created, which I believe was around 1920. This first is a dramatic street scene, elegant and simple. And the second, which I'm assembling for you, represents a modern room. Notice how the square openings are strategically placed to let the backlighting show through. And finally, the curtain rises on the first scene of The Taming of the Shrew. So wonderful. Then I'll replace it with Act 2. This one, in my opinion, is the most incredible of all. The perspective is amazing. Now we'll put the set away, hopefully to rest in peace and safety for another half a century.
And then here's something we're definitely going to examine tonight. These are my 2 Praxinoscope Theaters. And I got this one in France. And I bought this thing not knowing what it did. I just knew that in this box was something wonderful. And I never saw it work till I got back to my hotel room and actually did it. And what's here is sheer magic.
The theater?
It's a very, very early form of moving pictures. In fact, the first attempt to show moving pictures in France was a great big variation of this device. And then here's the one we're going to look at tonight. It's the more deluxe model. Again, it's the same thing, but this one's fully operational with all the stuff.
Cool.
is unfortunately the sales manager at Colorforms, the new one, who was working all kinds of deals on the side, conned me into designing this for his friend. Told me it was for Colorforms. It wasn't, and so I was doing it, you know.
Oh. Good one of those.
It was one of those sneaky deals that characterized the final days of Colorforms. Well, here's something over the top. I mean, this is really a production number, and this is a, oh boy. This is really put together here, but this is a puppet show with very, very large cardboard marionettes. And they did a lot of crazy stuff. Whoa. And it's directly inspired by the other product that we were looking at earlier.
My favorite, the Puppet Parade.
Which I'm about to show you the original for.
Just generic characters? No.
Yeah, generic. Here's woodettes. We've seen those before.
Yeah.
But here's the basic family set, which is the number one product in the line. This is where they'd all started with this. And then this is the rarest of the rare, of the best, and I didn't even remember I had it. This is the Woodette Library. And this was, this is just incredible. I forgot I even owned this. Storybook characters. It came with one put together. This was Alice from Alice and Wonderland. This is another one of these things which was a whole department in the jail Hudson Company, where you would see these things constructed and painted beautifully, beautifully, beautifully. And then you would get them home and you'd put them together perfectly, and then you'd use the terrible watercolors they came with and totally destroy them. Oh. I love these goddamn Woodex. Here's the circus set.
That's what this video should be called. I love these goddamn Woodex.
Look, here's the circus set and the elephant.
Oh, that is nice.
Gorgeous.
You know what this reminds me of? Like Legos before Legos.
This is Legos before Legos. Yes, it is. And like Legos, Legos these days, Legos used to be a set where you use your creativity. Nowadays, Legos is all about following instructions and putting together one thing. And then you have to buy another Lego set for each other thing you want to make. And show you how into these I am. Here's more sets that have never been taken out of the factory wrapping. This is the way they came to the store, wrapped like this. And now I'm back down here to this level. Oh! These are incredible. These are incredible. These photographed on the internet are the most popular photograph I have ever put on the internet. These are amazing. There's two of them here. These German disguise sets. And the stuff in it is just incredible. Just incredible. These continued on and were sold by FLO Schwartz into my time. But these go all the way back to the 1920s and before. And
where'd Mel go?
And they do stuff. Is this rolling its eyes properly?
Yeah. Psychedelic.
They're all made of celluloid. And I put photographs of these two sets put together. And it's so circulated with so many people commenting on them all over the internet. Everybody's got a smart remark about what they would do if they had these disguise sets.
That's interesting. That's your most popular?
Most popular photograph I've ever put on, and so You put the two sets together and they really do make a spectacular facing. And here's Puppet Parade with the band on it. And this band was put on the box in much better condition than the one we were looking at. This band was put on the box, and here's my extra Shirley Screech, because in this set came this fabulous pink and baby blue theater that one constructed to present each scene in. And then here's the complete set, all intact. And then these things are pretty wonderful and unique. These are pages of what might very well be a book. Foxy Grandpa. I don't think the book was ever published. No one's ever seen it. And when they're held up to the light, they reveal, can you see that? They reveal their true content and transform.
Wow, that's really amazing.
We could do this tonight in the dark and see them work properly, I guess. Okay, look at this.
Let's get a picture before and after.
Okay, here's before.
Okay.
Here's after. Can you see it?
Oh wow, yeah, that's nuts.
And this is what the backs look like.
Frightening.
This is a work in progress.
So these are the original artworks?
No, but they're obviously trials for the publishing, and I don't think the book was ever done. These are like printer's proofs. Somehow I have a feeling it never happened.
All sold together.
They were separate, but I mean I bought them all together, and I hope they're not the complete run of them. I know there's more.
Wow.
But I got them all together.
Wow.
God, what am I doing back here? Am I wrecking something? No, okay. This is another dusty number here. This is the Mickey Mouse version of the Popeye toy we saw last time. And this is in pretty wonderful condition too. Only unlike the Popeye, it's only got a wire contrivance to trace off the thing, and a little pointer here to trace the images. And then then the pencil would be fitted in here and it would draw them here. And this is the trial one. So this has never been used. It's the way it was presented. These boxes are so flimsy, one never finds them, and when one never finds them, these are not easy to get out of here. Okay. Never tired of seeing this. The Mickey Mouse Target game. I have a variety of these, from mint to otherwise. Here's a drawing toy called the Graphoscope. And this intricate device sets up, and it's got a viewer that you look through. And you put your eye up there, and you would see the image that you're looking at picked up in a mirror and projected on paper before you. So with one of these, you don't really have to know a lot about drawing to draw.
Never heard of something like that.
And there were actually a variety of variations of these. And this heavy-duty piece of equipment came with some inspiring pieces of art, which one could replicate with the aid of this device. It even got into caricatures. Here's what apparently was Jimmy Durante. Just think, with a thing like this, you could draw as good as that.
A little different than what they put on the cover.
I'll say, well, you can also draw from life with it, too. Here's a wild contraption called the Wonder Graph. And this crazy thing, this looks like one of James Gurney's movie devices. This would do a series of spirals and doodads of various sorts. But
and then do what? Just like a
just designs.
scope or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Here's a wild piece of equipment. Check this out. This is really serious. This is a wreck, but it's a moving picture book. And you have to take this off the cover and look through it. And this thing spins a wheel behind that, when it's working right, switches your lenses from red to green. You look through this at the pictures in the book, and they would appear to animate.
There's a blue-red line.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Little the worse for wear. There's something I thought was in here that's not here, and it's obviously in the case next to you. So I'm going to look for it and bring it out. I'll show you what it looks like so you can see what we're looking at. Okay, this is extraordinary. I got this in Paris, and it works today as good as it did when it was made. There may be a date on this. Patent applied for, well, very, very old. The Anocata. All original. Here's a little leather pouch. And in this container, believe it or not, is a tiny sprinkling of elder pith. And I mean just a tiny sprinkling. But I'm going to rub this in it. Okay. Now, here we go. I'm filling it with electricity. And now it's starting to... No, these are made of elder pith. This is actually amalgam. Okay, the balls are going, and now the little figures, little people. And a snake. Let's get it really going here. Once it's full of charge, it really goes nuts, and there we are.
Cool.
And then once you get it to this stage, it doesn't take a lot. There they are. They're dancing wildly. And then if you can actually get them to do things by touching them.
Neat.
Go ahead, be my guest. Somebody made these tiny little figures by hand.
Cool.
That's it.
That's neat.
Then if you'll hand me that out, I'll show you my daughter's version of it. This was my daughter Samantha's version for her school project. Art is all hers. Her dad helped her with the concept. Staticville. The name is hers too. And of course these work incredible.
Wow. Look at that. What'd she line that with?
Just plain paper.
Paper on paper on paper?
Paper and paper and a piece of plexiglass on the top. You could make...
That almost works better than the other one.
It does. It does.
Cool.
When I was a kid, my parents tried to get me to be more sociable, and they took me to a Cub Scouts meeting, and like I was going to join the Cub Scouts. Never happened. But they had projects, and some kid had made a thing like this, and I never forgot about it. Never. They were just a string of paper dolls, you know, the kind you fold over and cut out all at once the same. But against a black background, and never forgot about it.
Hers just works just as good as the other one.
I mean, you could make your own version of this, something you could sell.
Corpses jumping on
Yeah.
the ground.
You said it, not me.
Climbing from the grave.
You said it. I knew it would be like that. But you could do it.
Bats in a cave. That would be a little
That's good, yeah.
more acceptable.
Okay, that's this section. Okay, this is the gyrating shadow lantern. And it was patented on October 19th, 1875 by the McLaughlin brothers. I'm going to set that right over there. And I'm going to take out this thing and put this here for now. This thing's really got a story to tell. These are probably the original candles from 1875. This, there's a lot of stuff in this box. It's great stuff. Look at this.
Wow.
Oh, all of these, good Lord. All of these, my goodness. And here we go, the gyrating shadow lantern. There's the original instruction manual. I left a figure in here. It's important that you have all these figures. Okay. And there's additional figures which may or may not be used with this. Okay, I'm putting this over here for now. Now, to remember how to do this. Well, first of all, you put this in here. This much I know. Now then.
Is that a big hole burned in there?
Yes, it is. There was obviously a mishap somewhere between 1875 and now. There was definitely a mishap taking place. And this is a device. Oh, I see how this works. First we have to get this to split open like so. It's got a slice down the middle of it. I'm going to put this in here like this. And this is clearly to separate one candle from another. And then we put in these pegs. And then we're going to put these candles on here. Okay. And then we're going to balance this on the top. It's a needle point. Needle point. Now, all around the perimeter, we're going to place figures in these little slots.
Is it supposed to be scary?
Well, it depends on you. Are you wondering if you should be scared or not?
Oh, that's creepy.
Well, creepy it is, but you know. In its time, it might have just been magically wondrous. It didn't have to necessarily be creepy in its day. You have to put all of these in. because it's required that they balance. And of course it's perilous, because if they're not balanced perfectly, you're going to definitely get something contacting a candle.
Oh, yeah.
This would appear to be a policeman. Look how well crafted this is. They got the policeman's, these were die cut, got the policeman's badge star. Now, when this is all ready, we're going to put this on, this folding screen. Oh, I see what, it gets more and more perilous as it goes along.
Oh, actually
It's going to have to stand on the very top. Oh my God. Okay. Well, let's light the candles. Boy, Hanukkah was never like this. I'm going to light this one. Come on, let's go. Precarious.
Yeah, it is.
Precarious. This
Scary.
is really scary. It's like, this is like playing with fire. But it's going to work good. Okay, I'm placing this on. Ready? Come on, now, please operate properly. I'm turning out the light. This is it. I think we're going to work, folks.
Are you able to pinch that corner closed?
Yeah. How's that? Okay, this is it. I guess after 150 years it needs a drop of oil or something, but I'm not going to tempt destiny. Well, something's carrying it on its own steam.
Slowly but surely, there they go.
It's slowly getting along there.
I think when that
Oh.
metal heats up,
And I think when you see it from this side, you're supposed to see a kind of animated double image. I think was part of the idea here. So let's see if I can get this to work this way.
cool. That's really eerie. A great Halloween decoration.
It seems to have a depth to it from this, on this angle. And from this side,
Does this have a theme, a specific theme? Like, do these characters represent
no, I don't think so.
cops and robbers, maybe?
Well, I see that there are some soldiers, and so definitely a policeman. Slender Man.
Slender Man.
Oh, and this side is rather interesting. I actually like this side best because it produces a hoop-like thing. So it looks like they're going over a bridge of sorts. That's it. I'm going to blow the candles out. Like a f***ing birthday party. There. Praxinoscope Theater, Paris, 1878. And here we are. We'll click this over here. Okay, that's locked in place. Now out of here comes all this wonderful stuff. A candle holder. 2 candles. These are ancient too. That one's never been used. Okay. And this beautiful device. Now then, this is a reproduction which I made so I could dare play. I think this is the one I made, or is this the original? God, I can't even tell.
How'd you get this shine on that printing?
This is the original. It's lacquered. This is actually the rarest part of this thing, is this little lantern shade. Okay. You see what I'm doing here?
I'll raise it up a little so I can get that inside.
Well, here's some wonderful things. This is a mirror. And this is for decor number 3, the swimmer. And this is going to create the illusion that she's swimming in the water.
Wow.
And then there are all these little set pieces. Each one produces a different effect. Now, this has seen better days, but this was for the aerialist. It was meant to be a thing that made him airborne. And here's all the little scenery.
Do you need something to project this onto?
Nope.
No.
No. Pure magic. Okay, I'm screwing this into place. Okay. Getting this out of here. And these are all the films.
Wow.
Okay. Putting that over there. This will rest on the spindle. Now I'm unclipping this. And this is the proscenium. And this will slot in right here, like that. And then this little door, that pops down like that, and you see the first scene.
Huh.
Okay. Now, to this, we put the candle holder in place. And we pick a candle, and to the candle we clip the mirror. Boy, this is dangerous stuff. Okay, like so. And then on the mirror and on the candle, we balance the shade. That's the shade I made.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And then in here, we're going to place a film strip. And there's a thing in there. There's a little ridge that locks it in place. Like so. Now, can you zero in a little bit?
Where to?
Right there. Okay, this is a movie with no shutter. It's just mirrors. So one pose blends into the other one perfectly without a shutter action.
Upside down.
It's on his back now, I think. Okay. Let's enter a world of magic through the little window. The Praxinoscope Theater. Perfect. We're looking at 2 reflections. One of them is the scene and one is the figure who's balancing the thing on his feet. Now I'm going to stop him, and I'm going to show you some sheer magic. First, I'll change the background. This is the cirque, and then I'll add the floor. And here we go. Now he's performing his act in the circus. Now, for the next production, one of my favorites. I'm going to change the film. Ah, yes. And this is called Le Chien. I love these little doggies. Okay, and here they go. See them run through space and jump through the hoop. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect. While we're still here at the circus, let's see this. A feat of juggling. Jumping while he juggles. Now we're out in the garden, and this charming young lady is jumping rope. The figures are actually standing in space, and they don't exist. They're nothing but a combining of reflections.
It looks cool on the camera, but it's so much more dramatic through the little...
Through the hole, you're seeing it in 3 dimensions. While we're out here, let's play some badminton. Good mitten, I would say. Time to feed the chickens. Now it's time to change the scene again. And this performance requires a mirror to make the floor disappear. Here's the swimmer swimming in the sea. Okay, now I'm going to show you another little bit of trickery. This is one of the more spectacular effects. And I'm putting in the winter scene. And then this piece is bent. You can't really see it here, but this is bent so the post stands out in space. Now let me line this up perfectly. Yes, I'm going to move this over just a little bit. Then I have to line it up as best I can there. Okay, the boys skate down the ice and jump over the post.
Oh, look at that. That's cool.
Over the post, up the bridge, slide down the ice, over the post, up the bridge, slide down the ice. And that, my dear, is it. The Praxinoscope Theater. What you've been seeing is sheer magic. Let me explain just how it happened. Turning it around once more. And I'll explain what you've been seeing. The image is reflected in the mirrors, and it's also here in the back, and it's also reflected in the glass on the proscenium. And so somewhere in this space between here and there, these figures exist. But they're 2 reflections. They're not real in any count.
Well, would it be 2 or 3? You have the floor, the background, and the character.
Well, they all become one part.
Okay, in the front.
See, so you're seeing the background reflected in here,
yeah.
and you're seeing the figures reflected in the mirror through here. And so you're seeing the 2 reflections at once, and the figure over here appears to be standing right here. Standing.
Like a hologram almost.
Yes, it appears to be standing in space here in the garden.
Neat. Very neat. Amazing that's lit by a candle too.
Well, in those days, that's all they had. There would be no other way to light it, to make it work. So only your eyes could see it. Okay, that's it.